afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Accelerate Your Business Growth. And thank you very much indeed for joining me today on Saturday. So first of all, before we start, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Richard Evans, and I first became a property investor back in the mid-90s. And I started to build a small portfolio over the coming years, mainly of single lets in the Luton and Bedfordshire area. My key focus, though, was really on my corporate career, which was very successful. I was responsible for heading up and delivering large projects to corporate clients worth several £1 million. And so it was my responsibility to recruit and lead the project delivery team. Around about 2016, I felt that I'd really achieved everything that I wanted to achieve in the corporate world, and I started to turn my attention to my property portfolio, and I started to think that I should really, although I had really sort of stopped actively building that portfolio around about 2007, I decided that I wanted to really get back into property, give up the day job, and focus my attention on the property business. So I went along to a PIN meeting in 2016, and after that I attended the PIN Mastermind Accelerator course, and at the end of that I signed up for a 12-month Mastermind program with PIN, and I was on Mastermind 23. At the same time as starting that Mastermind program, I exited the corporate world. I didn't just do it overnight. I sort of made the decision back end of 2016 and spent 6 months, just sort of engineering my escape, if you like. And so May 2017, that's when I finally quit. And that's timed in nicely with starting my mastermind year. Now, I knew that if I wanted to scale up my property business and really grow it so that I could replace my income, that I couldn't do it all on my own. I needed some help. There were parts of the business that there's parts of running a business that I'm not particularly good at. And also, I just you don't have the time. So I knew that I would need to recruit assistants to help me scale up my business. And I took on my first virtual assistant in 2017, and my VA was doing all sorts of work for me, all the admin work, property management, looking for properties as well, doing some deal sourcing, and really helping me with my business. And other people in my mastermind year, they were saying to me, this is amazing, the way you've done this, the way you've systemised your business. Would you show me how to do it? And some people were saying that they tried, but they got it wrong. And, they tried working with a virtual assistant and it hadn't really worked out. And I would ask lots and lots of questions to try and find out why it hadn't worked out for them. And I was getting back common answers, and I'm gonna talk about some of that later on in this webinar. But there seemed to be such a need from people to actually understand how to systemize a business, how to work with a virtual assistant, that in 2018 I formed a new business called Awaken to Business, where I was mentoring people on scaling up and systemizing, and also recruiting virtual assistants for them from the Philippines. And that became very, very popular. That really sort of became my main business interest. And I needed to really scale up the whole mentoring and VA recruitment side. So I then formed Vavavoom, and Vavavoom is where it's been very, very successful. We recruit VAs from the Philippines. We train them in all things property, in doing things the Vavavoom way, and we give ongoing support and mentoring to the VAs and also to our clients as well. So that's what's got us to where we are now. So first of all, why would you systemise your business? And people have different reasons for why they would like to systemise their business. So first of all, it may be to free up your time, to allow you to have the time as it was for me, to be able to work on the business and not in it, so that you can focus your time on the really key, important tasks that need to be done, that can only be done by you. I think this one applies to everybody. Albert Einstein said, everyone is a genius, but if you try and teach a goldfish to climb a tree, it will spend its life thinking it's stupid. Okay, we all are good at different things, and if you try and do everything yourself, you're going to be doing stuff that you're not good at, where you're not in your flow. And so it's really important that when you're running a business, that you have other people using their skills where they're different to different skills to the ones that you have, so they can be doing the things that you're not good at. Then it may be that you have a full-time job. So if you're already working, then your secondary business, which may be a property business or something else, that secondary business, you've got to do it in the evenings, or you've got to do it in the weekends. You don't have the number of hours available. And also, of course, when you get home from work, like everybody else, you're tired, you may be exhausted, and you need to have some free time. You've got to have time out as well. So it can be very, very difficult to scale up a business when you've got another job as well going on. It may be that you want to get some time back in your life. So maybe you've been running a successful business with a limited team for some time, but now you actually want to pull yourself away from the business and spend more time doing other things, leisure time, spending time with family, traveling the world, although that can be a bit limited at the moment. Having said that, I do know some people that are setting off on a year-long trip around the world next week. So it's definitely still possible. But that's another reason you may want to get your time back. What is a systemised business? So there are three key elements to a systemised business. One is process. And so process, that is how you do what you do. The events that you go through to achieve certain outcomes within your business. It's the steps that you take. Next is software. It's really important that you are using software as much as possible for the various different tasks that need to be done. And by using software, you can automate an awful lot of these processes that we just talked about. And then the third element is the people in your business. So you've got to have people that are following the process and using the software, and not making those people be you. And when you've got all three elements, then you have a systemised business. Now, when you're running a company, there are various different processes that you will run, and every business, every company can be broken down into 5 key areas. So those are, first of all, the marketing that you do. So marketing is how you attract inquiries into your business. Then there's the sales, so how you convert those inquiries into firmed up business. You've got the operations, so that is how you deliver your product or your service. Then you have finance, so this is how you get paid, how you do your invoicing, how you pay your suppliers, how you do your credit control, your profit and loss reporting, all these financial elements. That's all the commerce side, finance. And then finally, the fifth element, which a lot of people forget about, is client retention. How you retain your clients, and or go around that process again with your existing clients or previous clients. And you need to have processes for all of these elements of your business. Now I'm going to talk about software. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you a link to my website. Okay. And on the website, you will see links to all of these bits of software that we're talking about. So if you want to sign up to any of these afterwards, that's an easy way to do it. And with some of these, we have negotiated special deals by these. So for instance, Less Annoying CRM, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Normally you get a 30-day free trial, but if you sign up via my link, you're going to get 60 days. So we've got discounts and special terms with a lot of these suppliers. So first of all, when you are working with when you've got a remote team and you've got people that are sharing software with you, it's really important that you share your login details very safely and securely. I think most people know that it's important that with software, with logins, you have unique passwords for every single site that you visit, and you don't write those passwords down in a little red book and keep it somewhere. But you have individual passwords and they are all locked away safely and securely. Well, LastPass is a bit of software that will allow you to do that. It's very, very easy to use. You only have to remember one password, which is the password you use to log on to LastPass, and then it will generate and store unique passwords for every single site that you go onto. And it stores, they're encrypted, they're stored up in the cloud. Nobody has access to them, not even LastPass, so they're not on a server that anybody can break into, hack into. So all encrypted, and you can share those passwords with your remote worker or VA, whoever it is, and they can then access the website using the LastPass share. They will never know what the password is, and when they leave the business, when they move on, all you could do is withdraw that permission. So if you're working with anybody at all, or even if you're working on your own, to be honest, to be able to have unique passwords for every single site, it's great security. LastPass is what I would recommend there. Now I'll talk about Less Annoying CRM. So a CRM system is a client relationship management software, okay? And this is where you store all of your contacts. It doesn't actually just have to be clients. It can be your suppliers, contractors, anybody that you're dealing with. You store their details in there. When you have any kind of meeting, discussion with the person, you keep the notes of those discussions in your CRM system. You can schedule appointments and follow-ups and things like that on Less Annoying CRM. It syncs all of that to your iPhone or Android, whatever you've got, all your devices. It keeps everything all in sync, so you can access it from anywhere. And your VA can also access that. And if your VA is talking to people or sending out emails, having conversations, all those emails, all those discussions get logged so that you both see the notes and can see what communications have been going on. So really important to be using a CRM system. And as I said, Less Annoying. One of the problems with CRM systems is that they can be very powerful, and that makes them complicated and difficult to use. Less Annoying CRM is a basic CRM system. So it's very, very easy to use. It doesn't have all the whistles and the bangs that a lot of CRM systems have. It has, the 95% that you need. And because it has only what you need to do, it's very, very simple to use. And it's not expensive. It's £7.50 a month, I think it costs at the moment. And you can opt out anytime. So as I say, 60-day free trial. I'd recommend you give it a try. And if you find it's not for you, you don't like it, you're not committed to anything, you don't even have to hand over any payment details when you're just using the trial version. When you're working with teams, you really need to be using a task management software. Okay, the two biggest ones out there are probably Trello and Asana. Personally, I love Trello. I like Asana for project management, but for task management, I prefer Trello. And with Trello, you schedule out all of the tasks that people need to be working on. You set due by dates. It keeps all of the information all in one place, and you can do reporting. And Trello can be used for all sorts of things. So thoroughly recommend Trello. Then we've got on property management, we've got Arthur. So if you're running HMOs or single lets, then Arthur will hold it all together. It's like a CRM system for your property, if you like. So that will store all of your tenant details. Oh, I've got a question here. How much do the rest cost? Oh, right. Okay. The rest of the software. Actually, if you've got any questions, if you can put them in the Q&A box rather than chat, that would be really good. Right. So one of the things that when we're evaluating software, thanks for that question, Mandy. That's a really good one. When we're evaluating software, there are 4 things we look at. One is, how easy is it to use? Functionality. So does it have the functionality that we use? Support, because support is very, very important. You know, you can have great software, but if it's difficult to use, then you're going to give up with it. Sorry, support. If you can't get any support from the supplier, the software provider, then you've got problems on your hands. And then finally, cost. So how much does it cost? And if it's, you know, we look at software which, if you can get free for trial, or maybe it's got free versions. The LastPass there, you can, if you're only sharing with one person, then you're fine with the free version. If you've got larger teams, then you need to go to a paid version. I think the premium LastPass is about £3 a month, so it's not expensive, but we do look at cost on all of these things. Trello. So free version, you'll be fine with the free version on that. Arthur is so much per property, and I think in its smallest version, it is £30. It might be £25 a month. It's something like that, and then the cost goes up depending on the size of your portfolio. Another question come in. What was the other one? The same as Trello, Asana. So Asana works slightly differently. It's similar, but it's better for project work, I find. And somebody's asked, does Arthur meet GDPR requirements? Yes, it does, as far as the software is concerned. But with GDPR, and I'm not a GDPR specialist, okay, so I would recommend, if GDPR is a concern of yours, you speak to a GDPR specialist that can advise you. But with GDPR, there are 3 key elements. One is the software must be compliant with GDPR regulations. The business, your business, must be GDPR compliant, and the user, the person that's putting the data in, must meet with GDPR requirements. So all of the software that we're talking about here meets the requirements for GDPR as far as software is concerned. Super control for serviced accommodation management, hospitality. So again, it's a bit like Arthur, but Arthur is for single lets and for HMOs, multiple rooms. Super control is for short-term accommodation. So it stores all of the information on your properties. It feeds that out to the OTAs, or the online travel agents such as booking.com and Airbnb and the others. So you only put all the information in there, and then that squirts out to those platforms. It keeps the calendars in sync. So if somebody books your property out on booking.com, it will book it out on your website and other sites as well, so you don't get the double bookings. It sends out automated emails and messages to guests. You can collect your payments and everything through there. So everything that you need to do within your serviced accommodation business, you can use Super Control to deal with that. On the financial management, you've got Xero. So Xero, we use both Xero and QuickBooks actually. Xero is probably more property centric. And that's where you do all your bookkeeping. So you can have a virtual assistant rather than a qualified bookkeeper that's doing all of the reconciliation. In fact, my virtual assistant is a qualified accountant, so you can have qualified bookkeepers that are VAs as well. Yeah, so your invoicing is all done through Xero or QuickBooks, your credit control, everything, generating reports. You know, it's really important that you know your numbers and you know how your business is performing. Are you making profit each month? What level are the properties performing at? Yeah, some properties maybe they're not cash flowing as they should do. So using some accounting software will highlight these issues to you, so really understand your numbers. Stripe will allow you to collect payments online. So credit card payments you can do through Stripe. We use it for collecting deposits and first month's rents when we've got new tenants moving in. Signable. So Signable will allow you to create agreements online that can be issued out, emailed over. So an AST, your VA can raise the AST, they can email it to the new tenant. They pick it up on their phone, they can sign it on their phone, goes straight back to you. We use it in our serviced accommodation business for sending out house rules to new guests before they arrive. They must sign the house rules. It's all done on Signable. We get those agreements all back, and they're all fully legally binding. Typeform. So Typeform is really good for collecting data from people. So it could be feedback forms from clients, from tenants, from anybody like that. So we also use Typeform when a new tenant, well, after reviewing, if the tenant says yes, they want to take the property, then VA gets a message. The VA will then send out the Typeform. It just captures basic information, you know, their name, their telephone number, what property they want to go ahead with when they're moving in, reference details, etc. We just capture that basic information on a Typeform, and then we send it over to the referencing company, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, so they can carry out the full reference. You need to be using some shared folder, cloud storage. So you need to be using some cloud storage to share all your documents, save all your documents and files in a folder on your shared drive. And you can share that. So I keep calling it a shared drive, cloud drive. And then you can share that drive with your virtual assistant or other people in your team that need to also access those documents. So you've got OneDrive we use, it comes free with Office 365. So lots and lots of storage at no additional cost. Then you've got Dropbox, you've got Google Drive, iCloud, which comes with Apple. So various different options there, but you really do need to be using one. I see we've got some duplicates here. I talked about advanced tenant referencing. So that advanced tenant referencing is an integration with Arthur. It's a separate business, but it's integrated with Arthur. So when the VA gets the Typeform back with the details in, they enter all that into Arthur, and then they click the button to send it for referencing. It goes to advanced tenant referencing. They then do the reference check. So it's much simpler. It's saving your time, saving your VA's time, because it's only £20 per reference. So it's a no-brainer, really. And it's a third party doing it, so you know it's going to be done properly. Yeah, advanced tenant referencing through Arthur. I talked about Stripe. You've got Go Cardless if you want to be able to take direct debit payments. So I would thoroughly recommend signing up to Go Cardless, and you know, again, for collecting rents or if you need to be doing regular invoicing to any of your customers, sign up to Go Cardless, and then you can automatically take the payment, provided the client's obviously given you authorization. You can take the payment, so that will reduce down late payments on invoicing. TransferWise, If you need to make payments internationally, maybe for paying a VA or anybody else that you may deal with, transfer-wise, you get much better rates than the banks, better rates than PayPal. It gives the best rates anywhere. So transfer-wise, I would recommend for that. Text marketer. So if you want to be able to market out, do marketing in bulk to maybe to landlords, anything like that, then you can use text marketer to do that. We also use that to get feedback from customers. How is your experience? I'm sure you've all had these messages saying, how much would you, how likely are you to recommend our business to friends or family on a scale of 1 to 10? That's exactly how we use that. We use it for messaging landlords, and your VA can be sending out these text messages for you from the other side of the world. You've got Zapier, so where a lot of this software integrates together. So I talked about Arthur integrating with advanced tenant referencing. It also integrates with Stripe and with GoCardless and with Xero. So, you know, you only have to put the information in once and it happens in the other bits of software. But where that's not necessarily the case, you've got Zapier, which can act as a little hub, and that will then automatically grab that data and stick it into another bit of software. So, for instance, Arthur doesn't integrate with Less Annoying CRM. So we have a Zapier link. So when you put the information into one via Zapier, it will stick it into the other. DocuSign, the final one here, that is same as Signable. It's another electronic document signing form. Okay, so Brad Sugars. I don't know if you've heard of Brad Sugars or Action Coach. So he's the man behind Action Coach, which is the world's largest coaching organization. It's a franchise operation. Very, very good. They have coaches throughout the world. So Brad Sugars is the man behind that. And he says, not employing someone in your business is costing you a fortune. So let's talk about teams and people and building teams. Now, it's really important when you're building your team that you recruit today for the people you need tomorrow. Okay, so, you know, if you're running a business, you know that it's very important that you've got a clear business plan, you are thinking strategically, and you plan out where you want to be in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, in a year's time, in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, and if you've got great vision, 10 years' time. Okay, you need to know where you're going with your business. How do you want to drive it? How are you going to build it? And then what resources do you need to meet these objectives that you've set out? So, you know, you need all sorts of resources. So software you're going to need. And so you're going to be thinking about what software do I need now? What software do I need in the future? But also, you know, the key ingredient is the people. Okay, you've got to have the right people in your team. Now, it takes time to build a team. It takes time. Well, let's start at the beginning. So, okay, so I decide, right, okay, I need an administrator within my business. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to get a virtual assistant. So you've got to think to yourself, right, okay, so what am I going to get that virtual assistant to do? Now, that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks that people have, first of all, is, well, what can I get my VA to do? Well, again, I'll give you the link at the end, but you can go onto the website and there will be a whole list of things that you can outsource to your virtual assistant. But there's other people as well. There's maintenance, there's trades, there's all sorts of people that you are going to need. But, you know, you decide, okay, so I'm going to recruit somebody. This is what I need. So you understand now the role, and then you've got to write that out. You've got to have a very good posting about what is the job, what does it entail, what's the person that I need, what are the qualifications, what's the experience that I'm going to need. You put that into some kind of post, and then you stick that on the internet, where most people go nowadays. That's where we put all of our posts. So you put that out there, and then you're going to get in a whole load of applications, and we get 200 to 300 a month. coming in. So you're going to get a whole load of applications, all these CVs. You've got to read through those CVs. You're then probably going to shortlist down. Some of them are just going to go in the bin, and then some you're going to shortlist those down. You may end up with, you know, with 20 or 30 CVs, but you haven't got time to interview 20 or 30 people. So you might go, okay, right, so I'm going to pick the 5, 6, 7 best ones. And then with those people, then you're going to need to do some interviews. We do two lots of interviews with each candidate that we take forward. So you're going to do some interviews. You're going to find out a little bit more about that person. You've got to think about the interview and what are the questions you're going to ask. How are you going to do that interview? And then after that, you're probably going to want to run some security checks, ID checks, police checks. You may want to do some psychometric testing. We all of our applications we give a psychometric test to, so we can see where they're in their flow. You know, are they great at creating things, or are they more analytical? What's the sort of thing that they're good at? How do they think? So you're going to want to do that. Then once you've done that, then you're going to need to onboard them, and then you're going to have to train them. So, you know, you're going to train them in your business, in your processes, in the software that you work with. So, you know, from being a business, running a business, you now also have got to become an expert in recruitment. Then eventually you can train them, and they're going to take time to learn the job, to learn the role, to get into their flow. So all that takes time. So, you know, that could take 3 to 6 months. So you've really got to be thinking now, who do I need to recruit so that they're going to be really good and efficient in 3 to 6 months time? Not just VAs, you know, other people within your team, maybe property managers. If you want to build a serviced accommodation business, then you're going to need a property manager that can go around and deal with the, you know, minor maintenance tasks, checking up on things, where major work's been completed, checking up on that, maybe meet and greet service. You're going to need cleaners, you're going to need laundry. So all those sort of things you're going to need locally as well in your business. So you need to be thinking about that. And of course, we've talked already about admin. And now with your virtual assistant or your admin people, they can be employed or they can be self-employed. They could also be full-time or part-time. Now, one recommendation here with these people is try and build in resilience. So if you're building a portfolio, try and have 2 property managers and 2 cleaners. So, you know, if one lets you down, you've got a backup plan. And it's the same with your admin as well. Okay, so build your business on part-timers, and as much as possible, unless you can avoid it, don't have them employed. Now, the reason you want to have part-timers is A, it gives you resilience. If somebody leaves, goes on holiday, is sick, you've got the backup plan in place. But also it does mean you can direct different tasks to different people. So you're getting people to do what they're good at. People are good at what they like, and they like what they're good at. And we're all in our flow in different things. So that is really important, you know. So really only go up to a maximum of 20 hours a week with your admin staff, and then take on somebody else. So they can be part-time or full-time, employed or self-employed. And if they're a virtual assistant, then obviously they're going to be working remotely. So let's just talk about what is a virtual assistant exactly. So as we said, they're going to be providing you with admin operational support within the business. They can be full-time or part-time, and they will generally be working from home. Okay, so they will usually be working from home, and also they can be UK based or they can be overseas. So there are lots and lots of VAs that are working in your home country, but they could also be anywhere in the world. And there's various different parts of the world which are very popular at the moment for virtual assistants. You know, you get a lot coming out nowadays from South Africa. It's actually increasing a lot. India, various different places, and the Philippines. the Philippines is the most popular part of the world now for recruiting virtual assistants. It's a big part of the employment sector there. A lot of them come from what's called the BPO sector. That's business process outsourcing, which is also a main employment category within the Philippines. And this is where big companies, the likes of Amazon and eBay and Uber and the various large companies, they outsource entire operations of their business to another business, another company, often Philippines based, and they will be doing, you know, all running all of the accounts or whatever for Uber and all of those processes and everything. So a lot of VAs, they have worked in that sector previously. The quality of person that you're going to get from the Philippines is very, very good. Okay, they're going to be of university standards, so they may not have a degree, but they're going to be of that standard. They're they're intelligent people. They have great English skills. They are obviously trained in software. They're used to working with software and processes. They get this, or the modern ways of doing things. They're used to this. They're very honest and hardworking, and they're very proud of what they do. They're proud of what their families. They'll be proud working for you. They'll be talking about their business, what they're doing in their business life, in their career, with their friends and with their family, and they like working on a UK clock. They're 8 hours ahead in the Philippines, which means that when it's 9 o'clock in the morning, I think that's 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the Philippines. So they're going to be starting at the later end of the day. So that means they may have another job, they may have another client, they may have children, and family that they need to look after during the day. So being a VA is very much late afternoon into the evening work. So they can do that when things are a bit quieter in the house, and they can crack on and earn extra money. So what can you get your VA to do? So I'm going to quickly run through the sort of typical tasks that a virtual assistant will do. So first of all, they can do your calendar or diary management, setting up appointments for you using the CRM system. They will set up the CRM system for you. Actually, an important point here, when I'm talking about software, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, that's okay, that's all well and good, but I'm not particularly PC savvy, I don't really understand software, don't worry about it, okay? Because remember that with all of this stuff that we're talking about, you're not the one that's using the software. Okay, yeah, you need to have a bit of an overview of it and understand what it does, but you don't necessarily have to understand how to do it, because that's why you've got a VA. They're doing it. So they can set up and manage the CRM system for you. They can manage your emails, respond if necessary, forward onto you the important ones that only you can deal with. We have a Trello system actually for email management, which is something that we teach the VAs. Social media and website management, collecting customer feedback, doing those feedback forms using Typeform. Operations manuals. It's really important that you have your processes are all documented. Okay, so everything that you do in your business, you should have a process manual that gives clear instructions. I say documented, it may be a video. It can be a combination of different things. You can use video, you can use screen recordings, documents, PowerPoint presentations. We use a lot, I don't know if you're familiar with mind maps. Mind maps are great, so that's very graphical, and it gives a flow chart to illustrate the process. So we use FreePlane is the one mind mapping software that we use for that, and that is free. So yeah, have these operations manuals, and they can become the most valuable asset within your business. Okay, documenting what you do, how you do it, and then when you take on new VAs, new people, you build your team, you've got the process manual. And I'll tell you actually another thing here. One of the things when you've got a systemized business is it's really good for your customers, because You have a way of doing things that is consistent. You always deliver the same standards. And I'm going to use the example here of McDonald's. You can go into a McDonald's restaurant, I say in inverted commas. You can go into a McDonald's restaurant anywhere in the world and you know exactly what to expect. Okay, you're going to get a particular burger. It's going to look the same. It's going to taste the same. It's going to be given to you the same. You're going to pay for it the same in any single restaurant. Even that restaurant's going to look the same anywhere in the world. You probably know you're in a McDonald's restaurant without even seeing the name McDonald's, or they don't even use the name McDonald's, a big M. You won't even see that. Okay, and you know you're in a McDonald's, and the person's going to be wearing the same uniform as well. They're going to be dressed the same, and that is a very good example of a systemized business. And you know, as a customer, exactly what you're going to get. It may not be the best burger in the world, but you know what you're going to get, and that illustrates a good system. And you know, if you take on a McDonald's franchise, you're going to get a systems manual like that, which details every single process, how that burger's got to be cooked. You know, it's going to be, the bun's going to be warmed for so many minutes at a certain temperature. The burger's going to be cooked on one side for so many seconds or minutes, and then it'd be a raw burger if I was cooking it. So many minutes, then it's going to be flipped and cooked on the other side. It's going to go into the bun. The lettuce, the tomato, the relish are all going to go on in pre-measured quantities in a certain order. And then that's the McDonald's burger, and that's how it's served. So that's what you want to create in your business. You know, not only is it giving you maximum efficiency, you're saving your time, but also your client has an expectation, and they know, you know, if you are running a HMO business, that every tenant is going to get treated in the same way. They're going to get responses in the same way. You're going to have your way of doing things, and you will retain those people, those tenants, for a lot longer. And you will find that you'll get tenants when they do want to move on because they need to go somewhere else. They want a bigger room or something like that, or they need to relocate. You will find that you will have your tenants saying, do you have any other properties in this area? You know, and you can retain those tenants. We talked about those 5 key areas. You will retain your tenants for a lot longer and get repeat business. So operations manuals. Drafting out contracts and agreements. So we talked about using DocuSign or Signable for sending out those agreements, preparing mailers and brochures for you. Canva is the one I should have mentioned. So if you're doing brochures, or if you've got a VA that's doing brochures, preparing PowerPoint presentations, a lot of this is that you're seeing here today is created using Canva. Set up and managing your social media channels, increasing social media contacts, drafting out email marketing templates and campaigns. So I'm not sure I talked about it, but you've got MailChimp, which integrates directly with Less Annoying CRM for doing email campaigns. We've switched over actually to Sendinblue. That's another one which actually fits our business needs more. So with software, we're always looking at new stuff and new ideas and seeing what different bits of software does. So, you know, one thing we don't do is we don't just stick with a piece of software because that's the way we've always done it. We always want to make sure that we're up to date and using the best stuff. Website updates, JV relationship management, bookkeeping, customer invoicing, credit control, producing financial statements and reports. You know, I talked earlier about how important it is that you understand your business and that you know your numbers. You may be like me, spreadsheets and reports, they bore the pants off me, you know, and to be honest, if I didn't have people doing it for me, I probably wouldn't be paying the attention that I should do to the numbers. But because I've got a VA, she's an accountant, she does all that side for me. And once a week, we have a financial review meeting and we look at the numbers on the various different businesses, make sure that everything's in line, that everything's being done properly, that we're making money. And, you know, we're doing forecasting, but she takes care of it. And it's the alarm bells that I have to worry about. Deal sourcing. So we train deal VAs and deal sourcing, processing tenant applications and move-ins, liaising with local councils and utilities, registering your deposits, creating welcome packs, price rate checking. If you're doing serviced accommodation, it's really important that you are charging the right rate. You know, if you're not, and rates are going up and down all the time. If you're not charging the right rate, then either you're going to be creating voids because you're too expensive, or you're going to be reducing the amount of money you can be making. You're not being as profitable as you should. So, you know, we have a VA that goes on once a week onto booking.com, checks our rates, makes sure that we are, you know, priced right, priced correctly for the coming week, for the coming 2 weeks, and which we're actually tracking 12 months in advance. So we know that if somebody goes on to booking.com and looks up a price for a two bedroom apartment in August next year, that our rate is going to be the right rate. So how much does a virtual assistant cost? Okay, I'm sorry to be picking on McDonald's tonight, and I'm also sorry to be picking on a minimum wage earner, but you know, there are some very clever minimum wage earners out there, because they may be, you know, they're at the beginning of the career, maybe they're at university studying, but for a minimum wage earner, you are not going to get somebody that is experienced, that's highly qualified, all those qualities that we were talking about earlier. However, a virtual assistant coming from the Philippines, the most you are going to be paying on an hourly basis is £7.25. But that's not the end of it. Okay, so if you've got somebody on minimum wage and they are on PAYE, then you've got the minimum wage, and that equates on full-time to just over £17,000 a year. But then you've got to pay national insurance on top of that, so that puts it up. And then you've got other costs as well. So you've got to provide nowadays with a pension. You've got your onboarding costs. You've got to train that person. You've got payroll to deal with. You're probably going to have to give them a computer and maybe a mobile phone. So you've got all of these other costs that you need to add on. So the true cost of employing somebody full-time on PAYE is going to be over £22,500 in that first year. So that is a considerable more than you're going to be paying, more than double what you would be paying for somebody full-time as a virtual assistant. Now, I'm not recommending that you go out and you take on full-time virtual assistants, okay? As I said earlier, as your business grows, your team grows and your people grow. So, you know, you start off, when you take on a virtual assistant, you start off giving them key tasks, you ease them into the business, you let them build up their experience. And then as they learn more, you can increase their hours. And then once you're up to like 20 hours a week worth of work, as your business has grown, you take on another VA and you start to build your team that way. So what are the mistakes that people make? And I said earlier that a lot of people said to me that they had tried taking on a virtual assistant and it hadn't worked. And I asked questions and I could see the common answers, common problems. So first of all, it's really important that when you take on a virtual assistant, you remember there are 3 sides to running a systemised business. Okay, if you've got a virtual assistant, you've got to be working virtually, which means you've got to have process, you've got to be using software, and then you can have the people using the software and running the process. People don't know how to recruit. You know, recruiting is an art, and it's back to that, you know, end up doing things that you're not particularly good at. And there is an art to recruiting and getting the right people. So you've got to know what you're looking for and how to qualify the people. With the Philippines, not understanding the culture, okay, or not just the Philippines, if you're recruiting people outside of the UK, yeah, culture is everything. And in fact, companies have culture. Companies have culture. And so you need to obviously make sure that the people that you recruit will fit in with the culture of your company. But more importantly is people that are living overseas, they have a different culture to us. So they have to understand our culture and we have to understand their culture. And it's very important that you do that. Not having a process, okay, not having anything detailed out, a way of doing things, you know, doing things differently depending on what day of the week it is or how you feel that day. Not using any task management systems. So we talked about Trello, and it's so important that you are using something like Trello to actually manage the tasks, put all the details in one place, set a due by date, have a reporting process in place. Not using a CRM system. Every business should have a CRM system which pulls together all of the information and keeps it in one place. Lack of leadership. Again, when you're building a business, you know, you are becoming you're a leader. You're leading a team. You need to be somebody that you're not a boss. You're not a manager. You are leading the team. You've got to be somebody that people can look up to, that can get inspiration from. You've got to inspire, you've got to motivate, you've got to support your team. So it's understanding how to actually be a good leader. Not having any kind of reporting process in place. Another thing, a lot of people, they expect they're going to get 24/7 support. Okay, so they think, oh, you know, oh, I've got a problem. I know, I'll just pick up the phone. Well, it doesn't work like that. You know, you've got to have agreed understanding working patterns. When are people working? When are they not working? When can you get an answer? When won't you get an answer? Not working with individual skills. You've got to play to people's strengths. Okay, so, you know, don't waste your time. If you've got somebody that's, you know, really good at one thing, then give them or hopefully they're really good at a few things, but that's the things that they're the tasks that you give them. Don't give them the stuff that they're bad at. You're going to get you're going to consistently get bad results, and they're not going to be happy. People don't like doing stuff that they're getting wrong and they can't get to grips with. People are happy, good at what they're happy with, and happy with what they're good at. So, you know, play to people's strengths. And of course, when you go to a recruitment agency, they don't tell you any of this. They don't give you any support. All they do is they will find you somebody and then say, there you go, off you go, and you're on your own. So that is a problem as well. So Barbarbum, we have a very different approach. Okay, so first of all of our VAs, we go through that screening process, a very thorough, strict process. It's a screening process. We do it the same way every time. Everybody goes through the same screening, the same interview pattern, etc. We know it works. And then once we've done the screening process, then we do the training process. So we put them through training on how to be a great VA our way, do things our way, which is the same way that we teach our clients and mentor our clients as well. So it all comes together nicely. You've got screened and trained VAs that are trained to work in one way, and you've got clients leading a business that are trained in how to be a team leader and work with their VA, and reporting and Trello and everything else. They work in the same way. So screened and trained. We don't just provide training on software and processes, though. We give our VAs personal development training as well. We call it How to Be Outstanding. So we train the VAs in how to be outstanding, not to be good, not to be average, not to be okay, but to be outstanding, to provide true value, complete value to their client and make themselves indispensable. Okay, so that we can get the testimonials that we've got on our website where people say, wow, it's been amazing and it's been game changing. You know, I should have done this so much earlier. Those are the testimonials we get, and that's because we train the VAs to be outstanding at what they do. And of course, we mentor our clients as well. So we give our clients mentoring advice on the systems, the processes. You know, I've been running property businesses for a long time, service accommodation, single lets, HMOs. I understand the property business. So we train, we can help clients with their businesses, train the VAs on property sourcing, property management, and everything else. And you know, it's all about support. So we mentor you on how to be a great team leader, on the systems, on the processes, and on how to delegate and let go. So what do you get with VAVAVM? You get access to a video vault, which has all sorts of training videos and support material. You get one-to-one mentoring with me. You get access to exclusive live webinars, which are only for our clients. You obviously get your own trained, dedicated virtual assistant. We have an IT support desk. So yeah, you know, if you're not IT savvy, don't worry about it. As I said earlier, your VA will set it all up and run with it and do the detail. But we do also have an IT support desk. So, you know, if you're struggling getting a bit of software installed on your computer or configured or anything like that, you can put a call in, and we've got somebody there that can guide you through, that can take control of your machine and you know, check settings and all that sort of stuff. You get access to an exclusive Facebook group. So this is a Facebook group where you can ask questions, where you can communicate. You know, we're a community. You become a Voomer when you become on board with VAVAVM. So as a Voomer, you get access to this group. You can be part of that community, ask questions, contribute to other questions that have been asked. And of course, as I said, it's all about support. You get ongoing support, not just for you, but also for your virtual assistant. So VAVAVM is normally £495 to sign up to, okay? And then you're charged by the hour for the number of hours that you use your VA. You'd have a dedicated VA. So there's full details on the website there, vavavm.solutions. You can go to my website, www.vavavm.solutions. There's all those links on there as well. You can book a call with me if you want to by scanning the code there on at the bottom of the slide. That gives you access to my online calendar, and you can book a Zoom call if you want to discuss anything that we talked about tonight, VAVAVM. We also have a proactive 24/7 call answering service which is aimed at the hospitality sector. It's called Smart Hospitality Solutions. So there's details of that on there, further details of the masterclass. We also ran 12 months ago, actually, a masterclass for serviced accommodation businesses. So that's called Virtual Serviced Accommodation Masterclass. So there's details of that on there as well. So let's see, have we got any other questions? Yes, we have. What system would you keep all the warranty information for oven, washing machines, etc.? Yep, great question. Thank you very much. So I would scan all of that in. Okay, scan it in, and then you can then save that on your shared drive. Okay, and a lot of these manuals actually are available online. So rather than scanning in the first instance, what you can do is just give the VA a list of what the equipment is, and then they can search the internet, download the manuals if necessary, put them all into a folder, put them on your OneDrive or your shared drive, whatever it is that you use, and then as part of the onboarding process with a new tenant, you can then let them have that link to the manuals file. Okay, so any other questions at all? No? Okay, right, good. So I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. Thank you very much indeed for coming on this afternoon, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.